The topic is related to mathematics. But in the problem statement you mentioned, it's to focusing on digital literacy. So don't you think that is a very vast topic? Digital literacy means literacy in all the fields. So how will you focus on it in your research? Yes. Are you able to understand my question?
Yes, madam. Did you ask me about digital literacy skills? Can
Yes.
you mean why that is? Yes. According to the 21st century skills framework, there was a definition for the digital literacy skills. So I mean digital literacy skills is one of the 21st century component.
Okay, don't you think it's a very vast topic to be researched?
Yes, madam, but according to literature review, I mentioned only two literature findings, but there are so many literature findings in my field, 21st century skills. I agree with you, but in my presentation, I didn't focus. I did not focus definition in digital skill, literacy skills. That is my some error. I think it is when I put in that point, what is the digital literacy skills? According to the literature review, it is clear for us.
Okay, and I liked your results and discussion. They were very straightforward, to the point, easy to understand. Overall, it was a great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you,
Dr. Maxia.
That was a very comprehensive presentation, Ms. Ovidimpa. I just have a few points to clarify. Your literature review suggests that there is an overall positive perception on using the flipped classrooms, especially by teachers, and especially by teachers who teach mathematics. So there is a strong literature study which indicates the need to develop policies, the need to implement digital literacy among the teachers. This is a generalization which can also be taken in Sri Lanka. In what way your study contributed to the overall understanding of this particular topic? Having said that this topic has been widely researched in places which is also having a similar demographic profile like Sri Lanka. I understand this is a study to fill the population gap, but how was your result? Adding more value to the understanding of how flipped classrooms have to be developed in your country. Especially when you're talking about mathematics, I didn't see any element of the mathematical application in flipped classrooms and how the perception vary from other subject teachers. I wish you can clarify this point, Ms. Erigama.
Yes, madam. Excuse me, madam. Can I have your question again, madam? I am not clear.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Oh, yes, sir. I am.
Yes. My question was, since you have a very strong literature which suggests that there is a positive approach towards teachers on using flipped classrooms, flipped technology for students, not only in Sri Lanka, but also countries which has the same demographic as Sri Lanka. So you have very strong literature. So now what made you to do this study, repeat this study in Sri Lanka, having known that you would be producing the same results? So my question is, how was your study contributing to the understanding of using flipped classrooms, and what policies could be developed by Sri Lankan government to use flipped classrooms in schools? And having mathematics teachers' perceptions here, how the teachers' perceptions vary from other subject teachers?
Yes, madam. Firstly, I would like to talk about you. This is my PhD research related to my PhD research. Today's I am going. I stated here in only two research objectives. The end of my research, I would like to recommendation to that our policies. The flipped classroom is not included in our teachers guide. In Sri Lanka, there are so many teachers guide is separated for each group, each class. So I would like to recommend my findings to Sri Lanka National Institute of Education. That institute is a curriculum designing policy. They have curriculum design policy. Um, uh, End of my research, I hope to implemented one of the workshop to the teachers with National Institute of Education.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Eligama. I wish you would also study further as to how teachers' perception vary from different subjects, because you need to bring that attention here to tell exactly how mathematics teachers' perceptions have, a slight disruptive results. So I wish you will incorporate this in your further studies. Thank you so much. So moving on to the next candidate, Mr. Long, Mr. Kong Ling Fai. Mr. Kong Ling Fai, who has a paper on the study on the causes and countermeasures of financial difficulties of small and medium-sized enterprises in China. Since the participant is not online, I go to the next participant, Hayatun Gwada, who has a paper, Housing Policy Implementation and its Impact on Economic Development in Sri Lanka. Again, the participant is not responsive, so we move forward to the next participant, Satya Renigunta. Ms. Satya Renigunta, who has the title, A Study on the Rising Role of Women in International Strategic Management in India.
Hello, doctor.
Satya there? Satya there?
Yes, Jayani.
Yeah, Jayani Hayantudu here, doctor.
No, I'm not talking about Jaini.
The previous one,
Oh, the previous one. Okay. Housing policy implementation and its impact on economic development in Sri Lanka. Okay, so your paper ID is 060. 060. So we start your presentation now. Kindly hang on while we play your presentation. Okay. Session one, session one, this one. No, it's session two. Sorry, session two. Session two. Yeah, West 1.
Yeah.
060.
It gives me a great pleasure to present the first International Conference on Global Education. My name is Jaini Hayantudu. I'm a PhD student of Lincoln University College. For my project title, I have chosen Housing Policy Implementation and its Impact on Economic Development in Sri Lanka. Housing matters to monetary improvement. It may enhance economic overall performance and location competitiveness, but it could additionally cause segregation and spatial concentration of poverty. Too regularly, but housing funding has taken area in isolation from the broader monetary context. This is how the term housing basically matters to economic development. In this presentation, I'm going to present you the introduction and the background of this research, problem identification, limitation of the study, objectives, and the questions of the research have collaborated in order to provide overview of the study. And I'm going to investigate the findings. Further, I'm going to describe the nature of the research design, the sampling plan, data collection and analysis procedures, nature of methodological use. After that, I'll do data analysis regarding the economic development of housing classification in Sri Lanka for the month of August 2021. Finally, I'm going to explain the outcomes of the research according to the objectives of the study. Provision of housing is one of the most vital tangible desires of an individual aspect of meals and clothing. There are a whole lot of housing coverage systems, but each of them consists of regulatory tactics in keeping with which the housing problems are diagnosed. Evaluation of causes of housing issues, approaches of ways and why the state has to interfere in the housing process. The role of housing policy in helping to promote financial growth and regenerate underacting areas is huge. The draft regeneration framework emphasized the want for housing policy to be higher incorporated with wider monetary upgrades. This piece will analyze how these linkages play out in cities and town areas. There are 3 research questions and 3 research objectives. Research questions are: what are the key aims and objectives of the existing housing policy in Sri Lanka? What is the concept of housing classification? What are the impacts of housing concept and housing classification on housing policy and economic development in Sri Lanka? Objectives are to analyze the aim of the existing housing policy in Sri Lanka, to describe and analyze the concept of housing classification, to develop the definition of housing concept in general that can use in housing policy in Sri Lanka for developing housing classifications that will have a positive economic impact. In the modern day downturn, ensuring new homes are added of the proper type in the property proper vicinity, and the link to wide economic outcomes may be all the more vital. Implementing a more incorporated response to housing and economic development can be the key assignment facing the houses and communities organization. A survey of Sri Lankan real estate professionals has been carried out to get an idea of the real estate market in Sri Lanka. Since there was a pandemic situation in Sri Lanka, collecting data was not simple, and meeting them physically was not possible for this kind of research. By literature review, we can investigate the findings of the previous researchers and can identify what is the basement of the research and how conceptual model has been developed according to previous literature. There are general areas of academic study. First one, real estate economic development. Second, factors affecting real estate economic development. Housing concept, housing classification, housing policies, impact of housing classification to real estate development. Actual property creation and financial development in rising market economies examines the construction sectors and explores how every region and the relationship among them affect the financial improvement in emerging market economies. Controlling for market length, infrastructure, and political balance, consequences for all countries imply lower finance fees and better stages of transparency in the actual state marketplace. The most vital components giving refuge and warmth in addition to providing a place to rest. The housing is classified by using the housing type, size, housing services, location, or organization of population dwelling within the housing. Sort of possession rights, creation length of housing, power performance signs, creation of substances used in the outdoors, wall of the housing, and with the aid of different functions. Housing policy gives a complete creation of the housing economic, political, and social troubles of housing across the continent. The advanced definition of the term housing and the housing class might be utilized in the developing and imposing the housing policy in addition for the data in countries. Conceptual framework. This conceptual framework is revised based on the literature. The conceptual framework explains the underlying process which is applied to guide this study. This survey has been carried out to find out how Sri Lankan real estate developers have improved in the last 5 years. The questionnaire have been disturbed online, acquired records and interviewed through the phone by staff at 9 companies across the country. There are 9 leading real estate companies in Sri Lanka according to the asiapropertyhq.com website. But there are more registered and unregistered real estate developers. This study is mainly focused on finding the economic development on the property classification system of properties. Data collected using the self-administration questionnaires filled by the respondents and by interviewing. The sample is selected in a way that the variance of variables is low and respondents are relaxed enough to give more precise data on their location and work habits. A convenient sampling is selected as a sampling technique. The reason for selecting the cluster random sampling method is that it's not much time consuming when collecting data on the housing market in Sri Lanka. The researcher is the primary information series instrument in qualitative research. Semi-structured interviews are used for primary information collection on this examine. Member checking is used on this. Take a look at to reduce researcher subjectivity and make sure right inflection of the personal stories of real property development managers. Methodological triangulation is used in the aggregate of interviews, member checking, documents, and observations. After the contributors had established the accuracy and competence of the transcript, identify the rising issues, then correlated the important things, subject matters emerging from the interviews with the external literature. Too often, housing investment has taken place in isolation from its wide economic context. Lack of housing can restrict market mobility, raise enterprise prices and constraining economic increase. Options consist of increase the intermediate marketplace, making higher use of present inventory and inspiring better density development. These are the findings of the research. Author has developed proposal for the classification of kinds of housing by classify them via different characteristics. The authorities may intervene directly in improvement interest by means of the creation of township improvement programs or unique improvement companies. The new neighborhood monetary test want to consist of an in-depth housing market evaluation. These are my recommendations for this, according to this research. Partner research to explore how special sort of housing provision affect economic, use special planning to strengthen the link between housing and economic development, work with RDS to ensure that these considerations, alongside different housing and monetary development linkages, are embedded within the integrated region. In excessive demand regions, deliver ahead public area funding to take gain to decrease land value and prioritize site needs. Focus funding on upgrading present inventory and rate of place improvements over new supply inside the contemporary monetary weather. This should assist to elevate private zone self-belief and provide enhanced residential surroundings to draw better profits, agencies, and business investments. As applications, enterprise leaders ought to broaden and speak enterprise method for organizational awareness. Documenting training is imperative on any real property development commercial enterprise. Real estate development enterprise managers in Sri Lanka need to look at the enterprise and conduct ordinary marketplace service. This is the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. Okay, overall, I find it quite good, satisfactory. But you know, all the time I was just thinking during the presentation, if you could have used graphs to show the actual data related to real estate, it could have been more clearly explained. Okay, and like the housing policies, they were not clearly explained by you, so that all the listeners and we as, you know, the judges, they could have understood it more clearly. And the findings, they were not, you know, up to the point as per your topic. They were a little bit, but you know, they were a bit misleading. So that are the few errors that I found. But overall, it was good. In the end, you were taking a lot of pauses in the recording the video. In the beginning, it was quite fluent. Okay. So just can you reply back why you didn't use graphs to show the data? Yeah, are you there? Yeah, hello ma'am, are you there in the meeting?
Yeah, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, so my question is why you didn't use graphs? Like it could have been more clear.
Oh, okay. I didn't still I prefer to put the charts and graph in this presentation. I think that's a mistake.
It's okay, but the other things they covered it, but I just focused on it. And about the findings, like they are misleading at times. So what will you say about that?
Ms. Jaini, that was a very precise presentation and appreciate your effort. Just to extend Dr. Anjali's question, I understand from your presentation that there are 3 research objectives, am I right? Ms. Jaini?
Please give response. Ms. Jenny, we need your response.
I'm sorry, ma'am, my network is not stable.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. Okay, so I wish Jenny takes into these things for consideration. 1, pertaining to the research objective, every research objective has a specific method to find or to collect the data. If your research method for presentation of your research question is using literature review, then The literature review has to be analyzed in the findings to come out with a comprehensive understanding of how you analyzed the concepts of housing policy and its classification. And in case you are using a quantitative method to find the data for your third research question, or be it matter any research question from your study, and if you're using a documentary analysis along with interviews, who did you interview? What was your interview questions typically look like? What documents did you analyze? And out of which, what findings that you derived? So these things are most important. You need to answer to the research questions that you have developed based on your problem statement. So I wish Jaini takes these things into consideration. Thank you so much. We move on to the next presenter, Satya Renigutta. Ms. Satya. Okay. The next presenter, Tien Jing. Tien Jing. Application of management in education and teaching. Paper number 077. I think I can see the presenter there in the online. Tien Jing, paper number 007. So while we start playing your recorded presentation, I wish the presenter kindly come online and respond to the questions later after the presentation recording is complete.
So this number
077.
strategies and the nature of the technology we have with that government and countries in different sectors, different political strategies.
The application of management in education and teaching. Tianjin Department of Business and Accountancy, Lincoln University College. The development of productive forests has prompted the birth of scientific management. Educators and educational managers are constantly exploring educational management. For the growth and development of educational management, is it necessary to introduce management 0 into 3 into modern education and teaching? How can management knowledge be effectively applied in education and teaching? What are the urgent problems that need to be solved in current educational management through the research in this article? We will provide one by one answers. So the application of management in education and teaching, we can better connect the education team, fully leverage the role of information such as education mentor, financial resources, and material resources, and utilize the various variable conditions with education to effectively achieve the educational management goals. Wang Zihai believes in his book, The Impact of Scientific Management on Education Management, that says the birth of scientific management people have been applied in it to various fields, and it has had a profound impact on many organizations and institutions, providing better guidance for education and teaching in the field of education. Wen Yingzhuo believes in reflection on education management that effective management is an important guarantee for improving teaching quality, and it's necessary to establishing a sound teaching separation organization and system. Multiple research methods were used. According to literature, research method data is obtained through literature investigation in order to comprehensively and correctly understand the development and evolution process of the research topic. The survey questionnaire method is used to purposeful and systematical collect information about the research subject. Education management research plays a prompting role in improving the education industry and school management, improving the quality and efficiency of school education, and is committed to the application of management knowledge in education and teaching, promoting the modernization and simplification of education management. Management knowledge plays an important role in education and teaching, and educational management has become a graduate studies and perfect applied disciplines. Thank you for watching.
Hello. Miss Jim.
Hello.
Yes, Miss Jim, I think you have recorded your paper presentation through mobile phone, and that has made it very difficult for us to see through your presentation. So your presentation was not very clear for us.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. The slides were all same together. So you have to be serious about these issues. Okay, you are presenting in an international conference.
So Miss Jane, I am very sorry that we will not be able to evaluate your presentation for the reason that we were not able to see your slides, and at the same time you have recorded it in your mobile phone, which made it even more difficult for us to read and understand. So hence, we are very sorry that we couldn't, but I also wish that we will take a time out for you to see your presentation, in the coming days, and we will give a feedback after the sessions.
Yeah, you took it in a casual way, but we are really sorry. We are bound with rules here. Okay?
Thank you so much, Ms. Tian.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on to the next presenter, Convent Zoo.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, hello. We will start your presentation now, the paper 085.
Okay. Good morning, teacher. Good morning, doctor. It's my pleasure to introduce my.
Just hold on one second.
The title of my paper is on the management of the university from the perspective of humanistic care. My name is Gong Wenxu. My supervisor is Ameya. First, let me introduce the content of my presentation. There are 6 parts. The first one is the problem statement. Second is the objective. Then is the literature review. The fourth is research methodology. The fifth is the results. Then at last, I will introduce the discussion and conclusion. First, let's talk about the problem statement. The effective management of universities is a new topic in the field of management. Human resource management in universities should better serve the development of universities and society. In the management of human resources in university, we need to keep up with the time, change our concepts, and introduce new concepts and methods of human resources in universities in China. We should enable talents to fully play their role and promote the achievement of organizational goals. To better promote the development of the trinity of talent, universities, and society, it is inevitable to introduce a humanistic perspective into the management of human resources in universities. Then let's talk about the objectives. The issue of university management has always been of great concern. In the area of rapid development of knowledge economy, the most core competency is talent and human resources. And the universities should also like this. Universities in China should quickly integrate with internationally famous universities and play a positive role in the construction of the world university system. The perspective of humanistic care is an avoidable issue in the management of universities. The ability of interpret university management issues from the perspective of humanistic care is conducive to building a strong humanism atmosphere of the universities, promoting the construction of social harmony and promoting the healthy development of the universities. Then let's talk about the literal review. When humanism in the Western Renaissance launched a counterattack on religion, the trend of thought of humanism greatly spread. In this movement, humanism affirmed the natural nature of human being and began to pay attention to the social survival status of human beings as a universal value system. Today, the people-centered development model has been unanimously recognized by various countries, and the aesthetic and social development concept advocated by China is another expression of humanism. On the premise of humanism, the perspective of humanistic care mainly refers to using humanistic spirit as the core value system of thought, fully respecting human personality, respecting human growth laws, and respecting human multi-level needs. This respect is reflected in the process of human growth value system. The management of universities from the perspective of humanism determines the obvious characters of humanist care at the level of universities due to the special objects of management. Firstly, human resource management in universities has strong subjective initiative among the faculty and staff in universities. Most of them are senior intelligent with knowledge and skills. They need universal humanistic care in order to realize their own value. Secondly, their psychological needs are at a higher level. Therefore, a fair and just attitude of humanistic care should be reflected in this group. Finally, they also have a strong sense of innovation. Only by strengthening the cultivation of these innovative awares can we stimulate the enthusiasm of teachers and better serve the development of school. And then let's talk about the let's talk about the research methodology. While improving the homeless contribution of university administrators, it is also necessary for them to clarify the practical role of homelessty care in the management process, improve the administrative efficiency and execution ability of university administrators. The school has developed and improved a system full of homeless care. In the exclusion of university management issues from a humanistic perspective, while emphasizing the qualities that managers should possess, teachers should also actively take action, actively participate in school management, and continuously enrich and improve themselves. The basic concept of humanistic care in university management is to take humanistic spirit as the ideological core. University administrators should fully respect and understand talents, recognize their important role, and enrich and improve their incentive mechanisms. Emphasis should be placed on humanistic care in university management to make good use of perspective of humanistic care in universities. The following four principles should be followed. The principle of fairness and justice should be adhered. Implement the principle of the open democracy. The basic principle of people-centered should be emphasized. There should be appreciated rewards and incentive principles. Then let's talk about the result. The problem of university management is interpreted from the perspective of humanistic care, which is conducive to building a strong humanism atmosphere of the school and can promote the healthy development of school. In the last is the discussion and conclusion. Currently, universities in China are striving to align with international standards and strive toward high-level universities. During this critical period, we should examine university management issues from a humanistic perspective and attach great importance to various issues that arise from this perspective. We have found a good way to efficiently solve it and promote the good and fast development of the university. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gornai.
Yeah.
A few questions regarding your research objectives. So your research objectives do not give a very clear statement of thought. As such, what do you want to investigate in this particular research? What is your area of study? What do you want to investigate? What are the key factors that you would like to compare or analyze? And your research methodology is an extension of the methods that you use to answer your research objectives. What is your methodology here?
I think now today the humanistic care is important in the management, especially in university management. So I think in the university in China should take more measures to improve the level of the research and develop and we should take more measures to make let the teachers and students in university have a good environment to carry out their researching work, and I think it is necessary to explore the issue of university management, and the perspective of humanist care is important issue in university management, especially in China. And I think if we pay more attention to humanistic care in university, and the university should have better result. And
Yes, I recommend the candidate to seriously give thought about the method. What methods would you use to study your objective?
The method.
So I request the candidate to follow up on the research methodology. Do you want to conduct an interview, or do you want to study your research objectives through a conceptual framework and then a data analysis through a questionnaire? You need to give a serious thought about the literature review, because your literature review will clearly indicate whether your study should be quantitative or qualitative or both. And it will also try to create a research gap. These
I
are
use
recommendations which the examiners would like to give you. So thank you so much, Mr. Gongwei.
thank you.
Yeah. I want to ask you a few little things. As Dr. Big C, she already focused on the big things, the errors that you made. So I want to ask you that you have mentioned humanism and humanistic movements, but nowhere the dates are mentioned. You could have quoted some. You don't need to memorize. You just need to refer to internet or to some books and mention it in your presentation.
Thank you. I use some methods such as event.
You talked about certain movements of the past time history, but you didn't mention the dates. Just check in the slides that are in the middle. You have mentioned certain movements, humanistic movements, without dates. So if we talk about history, we have to mention few dates. Okay, so that's a small error that I found. And thank you so much. Overall, the presentation was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gongwei. We move on to our next participant.
Yes,
Muhammad
Zorays of Shah.
Yeah. Can we, the paper ID is 015.
Yes.
Yeah, 1 second. We will play a recording.
Which is his recording name? Tianjin. Muhammad Zorays of Shah 015.
I am just for Polish University and stands to begin public community is the team border that are in this This is the sequence for the presentation starting from
Can we stop the presentation? Paper ID is 015. Now this is not paper.
The application of management in education and teaching. Tianjin Department
015.
Yes, 015 Mohammed Zaid.
And
International global trends, issue innovations, global trends, issues and
Yes.
This is just a
they
education.
are placing of they are placing of management in education and teaching. Changing Department of Business and Lincoln University College. The development of productive and break the growth of scientific management, educator and educational manager are constantly exploring educational management, and growth and development of management as it's necessary to introduce management their role into modern education and teaching. How can management knowledge be effectively applied and teaching? The urgent problems that need to be solved in current educational management. Management zero research in this. People, we will pray the one by one answer.
Yes, for example, no, you have to place this one. You have to
So
place.
the placing
I
of
can just other
management
people speaking.
and the teaching, we can better already.
Ms. Tian Zeng. Ms. Tian Zeng,
Stop sharing.
can you please unmute?
Stop sharing.
Stop sharing your screen.
Please don't give presentation until you are asked for that.
Is educating board of directors on risk management of Punjab Agriculture and Meat Company. This is the sequence for my presentation.
Let's start.
I am Mohammad Zoreez Afshar, FCMA CGMA from UK and ACMA from Pakistan. I am PhD scholar from Lincoln's University under the supervision of Dr. Mutahir Hussain Shah. The topic for my presentation is educating board of directors on risk management of Punjab Agriculture and Meat Company. This is the sequence for my presentation, starting from introduction followed by literature review, research methodology, results and discussions, conclusions and references. Worldwide, natural calamities and artificial crises are posing serious sustainability risks for the organizations. And organizational resilience is the new research arena where a lot of scholars are doing research. Research gaps are available for study of organizational resilience in the government sector entities, and there are also gaps in the unification of factors contributing towards resilience. This study is part of my thesis, Capacity Assessment of Punjab Agriculture and Meat Company under Environmental Factors and Government Regulations. Literature review has been categorized among risk management, strategic agility, leadership skills, adaptive capacity. Organizations are shifting from conventional risk management to universal practices, and effective risk management is key to the development of organizational resilience. Leadership skills are required for improvement in organizational resilience, and adaptive capacity is linked with organizational resilience so as the organizations can handle the risk in a volatile economy. Research methodology include participation of 30 management officials recruited through purposive sampling techniques, and there are 8 variables in the model, and there are 35 constructed items associated with these variables. And the applications used are Microsoft Word, Excel, IBM SPSS, Smart PLS4, Mendeley for referencing purposes. And in the model, adaptive capacity is the
dependent model, and the interrelationship among the variables have been studied through 7 hypotheses for direct relationship among the variables and 7 further hypotheses for indirect relationship among the variables to ascertain their impact indirectly through mediation and through serial mediation. This slide displays the demography of the sample. 87% of the sample participants include males and 13% are females. And the majority of the management hierarchy include middle management, that is 43%. And in the age group, the majority is from 41 to 50 years group. And having experience with the majority fall in 11 to 20 years. And the qualification is concerned, the participants have majority have master's level, that is 43%. This is the research hypothesized model. We can see that for 35 constructed items associated with these variables, the factor loading is greater than 0.7 except for the MC4, which is 0.691, which is even then it is considered as a good factor loading. Keeping in view the factor loading for 35 constructed items, which was good factor loading, we can see that for all the variables, the Cronbach alpha and composite reliability both for row A and row C is greater than 0.70, the threshold value. So the construct reliability has been established, and for convergent validity, we can see that average variance extracted is greater than the threshold value of 0.50 for all the variables. Therefore, the convergent validity is also established. Discriminant validity through HT-MT correlation matrix is displayed as correlation among the variables, and we can see that all the correlations in the diagonals are less than 0.9. So the discriminant validity is established through HT-MT matrix. Through Forner-Larker criterion, it has been determined that the square root of the AVE is related to all the variables of PEMCO's organizational resilience model on the diagonals, that is, the values in bold. They have been found greater than the correlations among the variables conforming rows and columns values. This means that this shows a good discriminant validity. Hence, the discriminant validity has been established through Forner and Larker criterion in addition to the HT-MT matrix. These are the parameters of direct hypothesis to investigate the direct relationship among the variables. And we can see that for all the 7 hypotheses, except for the first one, all H2 to H7, they have t-statistics greater than the threshold value of 1.96 and p-value is less than the threshold value of 0.05. Therefore, H2 to H7 hypothesis, any 6 hypotheses have been exported, except for the first one, which we can reject due to the t-statistics value less than 1.96 and p-value greater than 0.5. So this is rejected. These are the parameters of indirect hypothesis. We can see that for all the 7 hypotheses, that is H8 to H14, the t-statistics computed is greater than the threshold value of 1.96 and p-value is less than the threshold value of 0.05 for all the items. So we can say that the indirect relationship is established among the variables through mediation and through serial mediation, that is the H12 and H14. The study portrays various significant theoretical contributions to the existing literature and provides a valuable practical implications for an organization. The study highlights the need for risk management culture that should be considered as shared responsibility. The study also highlights the importance of educating board of directors to build a risk management culture within the organization using a proactive approach. Being a single entity study, this is a limitation, and for more generalizable results, future researchers should include a broad base of public and private sector commercial organizations also. And the sample drawn was non-probabilistic method, and it is also suggested for future researchers to include random sampling techniques. These are few of the references I have consulted for preparation of this study. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed Ashraf.
One more. So raise Afshar.
Stop sharing. Mr. Afshar, are you here?
Yes, yes, I am listening.
Yeah, that was a very comprehensive presentation with a good statistical analysis of your hypothesis that you have derived for your study. I have just one question to ask. What do these statistics really mean? Of course, we see the numbers there on the screen. What do they really represent? What variables are closely associated with the risk factors or the risk assessment of the Punjab Agriculture and Meat Company? You know, so yeah, of course, we understand that you have derived these statistics based on your hypothesis. But we could see majority the numbers, you know, playing the games. But we are yet to understand what do they really mean. You know, how would you describe the statistics here, and what do they really conclude? What findings are being disruptive here? Was it closely associated with the findings which you find from the literature review, or do you see any new emerging patterns? Can you please discuss a few things, you know, just to educate us?
So, madam, actually, risk management is purpose. The purpose of risk management is basically to ensure the organizational resilience. And organizational resilience is measured in this model by adaptation capability of the organization. That like COVID, like other floods and other things here in Pakistan, which we are facing. So the organizations needs to be resilient to have a capability of risk management. So all these factors like that include major, basically the board of directors, which is the governing body. They have to be educated that the risk is not like a simple one-person job or a risk manager or audit manager that he will be able to identify the risk. It is a shared responsibility and it should be inculcated in the culture of the organization. This is what I wanted to establish for various variables, and I adopted a model of previous study like Zara and Morel, and this is in detail given in the paper I have submitted for printing, publishing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, hello, and I would like to congratulate you. Your presentation was really well made, and the video quality was really good. And the way you presented your hypothesis, that is really clear. Like a person who is not from the field of mathematics could understand it really easily. So you presented everything in a very clear manner. So that was really great work done from your end. And thank you so much for presenting, and good luck for future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We would like to go for a short recess. There is a short break. We come back at 10:45 a.m. Malaysian time. I request the other presenters, Ms. Wang Wei, Kwimin, Ajolo, Cheng Lei, Ms. Samani, and Lee Chin Mai, to please assemble again online at 10:45 a.m. And we now go for a short recess. Thank you so much.
Please be there on time, 10:45. Okay, sharp. Okay, thank you all. Thank you so much.
Welcome once again to all the participants. Can we have Mr. Wang Wei? Wang Wei, who has a topic, application research of Montessori education method in cognitive training of patients with Alzheimer's disease. Ms. Wang Wei.
Yes,
Yes, the paper ID is 084.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Topic of today is education research.
Hello, teacher. Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Oh,
Can you,
yes. So,
yeah, can you please ask after your
before our students. Wait, I just ask one question and I leave. Well, our students Tianjin presented half away. So, do we need to show it again?
Can you repeat?
Can you listen me, teacher?
We are starting your presentation now.
No. I asked about before our presentation is half away. So so I asked whether I need to presentation again.
No, you just need to answer the questions.
Okay. So so when I ask a question.
We have your recording, right? 084.
Okay.
So we play your
Okay.
recording, and after that, if there is any questions, please address those questions.
Okay. I have done it. So thank you.
Thank you.
His voice is
No voice. Excuse me, may I know why there's no voice, almost no voice in your presentation? It's not at all reaching us. No audio.
So may I share my screen to have
Yes,
my
present yourself. That would be better for you.
okay.
Please attach your PPT and present. Please maximize presentation.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. The topic of my report today is application research of Montessori education method in cognitive training of patients with Alzheimer's disease. I will carry out my report in this aspect. Alzheimer's disease, AD, commonly known as senile dementia, is a usual native disease with slow onset and progressive deterioration over time. The most common early symptom of Alzheimer's disease is loss of short-term memory. As the disease progresses, a variety of other symptoms may gradually appear, including language impairment, disorientation, amnesia, unsteadiness, loss of motivation, inability to care for oneself, and many problems. At present, there is no effective drug treatment for senile dementia, so it is of great significance to improve the quality of life and delay the progress and of the disease in the non-drug treatment of senior dementia patients. The guidelines for the prevention and treatment of AD clearly point out that the focus of the treatment of the disease is to control the risk factors, ensure the personal safety of patients, and do a good job in cognitive and physical behavior interventions. In recent years, dementia-related care institutions in Canada and the United States have begun to apply a new nursing method, the Montessori education method. This education method has attracted the attention of researchers and practitioners. Although it cannot cure dementia, however, it can improve the quality of life of elderly patients with dementia in many ways. This kind of training method is to choose Montessori education suitable for dementia patients, guide patients to engage in some fine moments and improve patients' attention and posing positive response through life education, sensory education, language education, mathematics education, and so on. My study methods select 40 cases of AD patients hospitalized in my hospital from January 2022 to January 2023, and the selection criteria as follows. Use the design method of no equal control group in similar experimental study. The patients we given natural numbers according to the date of admission, and we randomly divide into an intervention group of 20 cases and a control group of 20 cases according to the odd and double number table method. The control group received the routine nursing, and the research group adopted the Montessori education method. Set up a special nursing team in hospital, make the correct education preparations per the corresponding activity materials for aging patients. Choose the actives I will introduce. Divide the 20 patients into 4 groups, 5 in each group. Nurse tried in Montessori education will give guidance every day, and group activities will be carried out once a week, 45 minutes each time for 6 months. The specific intervention plan is as follows. Foster intelligence and memory training, use puzzle, pitching beans, finger exercise, wooden burden, and building blocks. And number 2, language function training. Nurse of family members give the short poems with patients together, and various animals fruits in daily life are made into colored cards for patients to recognize and read. Number 3, classification ability training. Use simple eye-catching and marks in the road or home to train the patient's orientation. Number 4, attention training. Number 5, attention train. Number 4 is orientation ability training. Use simple eye catch and fixed method in home vision to train the patients to orientation. Number 5, attention training guide patients to read various interesting books and the newspaper, and provide patients with simple bright games such as flying chess. Number 6, coordination training. Instructor patients to complete action with their left and right hands at the same time, such as football. Number 7, mathematical education use carry out mathematical education, pay attention to the relationship between quantity number and number when patients think to help them become familiar with calculation in daily life. The cognitive function of patients was assessed use the mini mental state examination, MMSE. Statistical analysis was performed use sparse 19 software. This is the result. After 6 months of use Montessori education method in the intervention group, the MMSE score increased compared with that before treatment, and the virus score of the intervention group were higher than those of the control group, as shown in the table. In the context of the rapid development of medicine, clinical nursing work is gradually evolving, advocate patient-centered, human-oriented nursing service, and introducing Montessori education into it through theory education, language education, life education, and so on, allowing patients to learn actively in the specific environment, use various teaching as to carry out free operations and promote the improvement of the patient's cognitive abilities. Montessori education has become a popular nursing method for AD patients in foreign countries. It has developed well in intervention content, intervention tools, and intervention elements, and can improve the cognitive function of patients to a certain extent. At present, the traditional family intervention is still the main form of the nursing care for senior dementia in China. So there is a great room for exploring the development of Montessori education in China. In view of the particularity of aging patients, cognitive dysfunction, mental and behavioral symptoms, and the social life ability, although it has fundamentally increased the difficult applying of Montessori education to AD patients.
Yes.
Thank you for your listening.
Okay, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. And this is for all the presenters who are going to present today. So please don't read from the slides. Okay, just explain it in short, whatever you have mentioned in the slide. That would be more interesting.
Thank you.
Over to Dr. Betts.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wang Wei. That was a way ahead of presentation, and it is very interdisciplinary in approach because you have taken the basic Montessori education to the patients who are suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Yeah, so it is novel in a way, I would say, and one of our nicest presentations in today's session. So congratulations for it. And I have a question for you. Okay. You have mentioned that there is a possibility of better management of Alzheimer's disease when they have been taught or when they have been used this Montessori education method. What particular outcomes do you predict? What could be the particular improvement in patients of Alzheimer's disease that you have noticed?
Models?
What improvements have you noticed with patients of Alzheimer's disease after implementing the Montessori education method? What exactly did you find was the quality or improvement in the quality of life of those patients?
After use the Montessori education method, or before?
Yes, after using the Montessori education method, how were the Alzheimer's patients got better of themselves?
Use the you mean the use the mini mental standard examination, or we use the MMSE to find them the improve of the regularized life, several education, language education, life education, mathematical education.
All right, I think the point that you have to take care in your research is the standard improvement of the patients after using the Montessori education method.
Standard?
No, we have to know how the Alzheimer's patients could better manage themselves after you gave the Montessori education. You need to focus that on your research. How did it benefit them? How did this method benefit them?
You mean as how my data collection?
Okay, so I would like the participant to focus more on the outcome, the advantage the patients received after following the Montessori education method. You know, we would like you to focus more on that in depth for your future research.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Weng Wei.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So we move on to the next presenter, Kyo Kwimin, who has a presentation on the attachment and empathy in children aged 3 to 6 years. The paper ID is 040.
Hello. My conference starting points for children's learning of painting should be based on those conducive to their physical and mental development. This study is a class was randomly divided into experimental and control groups with 11 students in each group. The study lasted more than 3 months and analysis between control and experimental groups showed progress in the experimental groups based on significant values in both groups. The following page of the documents was the additional value of students' comprehensive development. Attention to cultivating children's creative thinking in children's painting. The third, work painting activities into the daily life of kindergarten. Introduction. The starting point of children's painting should be based on physical and mental health development. The key problem is to cultivate children's observation, imagination, beauty, and beauty expression ability. If children learn painting as soon as possible, do not know children learn to paint to become painters. It's to that children attention, learn to use paint to express their emotional work. It can help raise children's creativity and also children's emotion, personality, learning quality, and other aspects to meet and sound development. Promote children's divergent thinking and creative development also play very important role. Methodology. They also obtain the research materials through educational experiments, made quantitative analysis of the research materials through C Assessment 27, made quantitative analysis of the research materials through working analysis methods. To update the research data, yes. Analyze the daily observations of the two groups of activities. And finally, get the research results for subjects. According to the development of children's psychological and physics psychological development, different ages, it can be rightly divided into 4 stages. Prophetic period, symbolic period, image period, and real period. The age suitable for the school stage are 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and 5 to 6. Results. Group experimental group 11. Control group was for 7 people. Experimental group boys 1 was sent to group. The group 6 years of children in 7 people. Experimental group 6 years old children, 2 lesson experimental group. Experimental group has 1 subject painting in. 2 group painting training, 1 more than the experimental group. Overall, we can see that the experimental group and the control group are basically the same in terms of the male female ratio. Also using C says 27 to perform the sample for experimental group. Data analysis results the same value was less than 0. Difference between before and after experimental group was significant. The teacher concentration activities can significantly enhance large students' painting ability. On the basis of the research results, the following suggestions are put forward. Should be the value of students' comprehensive development. Secondly, attention to cultivating children's creative thinking in children's painting. Third, integrate painting activities into the daily life of kindergarten. Teacher guidance in painting creation activities can significantly enhance large students' painting ability. So the research results. Following additional suggestions are put forward. In painting should be safety of especially on making children's creative in children's painting. Painting activities into the daily life of kindergarten process. The painting activities of the experimental group pay more attention to the direct region children. Direct examples. The children in the experimental group find that the same. They are interested in honor the support of the group. Group many parents are painting activities under the requirements. That is, the group many parents are painting activities under the requirements. The style requirements determined by the people. The mystery people's topic of China applies to learning and development of statistics. In 2007, from Noble University Press. In 2012, second, the history of education of PRC, guidance on
Please don't read the references.
2018 edition from Beijing University Press in 2001. The third.
Okay, students, participants, an announcement for you once again. Please don't, there shouldn't be slide reading. Okay, so now Dr. Bexy will ask you certain questions. So over to Dr. Bexy.
Ms. Van, that was a very precise presentation, and good luck for the efforts that you have taken. I have a few questions, which is regarding to your problem statement, because I could see there is no weightage on the instruction of whether the painting is a way to improve the student's creativity whose age is between 3 and 6 years. So there is a no comprehensive agreement in the research gap you have found from the literature, nor was it mentioned in your problem statement, and the questions were not related to what you have really found. But there was a weightage of information from your methodology to your findings. Of course, we could see you have done a control and experimental group study with these children who have adopted painting as one learning strategy. But what we failed to understand is where was the need to conduct the study, what was the research gap, what was already researched by others, what is found and what is not yet found, and what exactly do you mean by painting for these students? Like, is it painting of what type?
Yeah, I want to say a word, like it became overall confusing for us to understand your whole research work through this PPT. Maybe you are doing it in a better way otherwise, but in the PPT you are not able to clearly explain all the things and present before us in a very clear and short manner. So that was a weakness. Otherwise, overall, you were good. Thank you so much.
Suman? So you need to improve.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Hello, doctor.
Am I audible?
Hello, doctor.
Hi, Mr. Suman. Okay, so I wish the candidate takes into consideration to improve on the problem statement, the research gap, and the literature review, which is definitely going to be useful for framing your research questions. So the presentation needs to be improved in your future research process. And I thank you once again for participating and presenting your paper here. A kind attention to all the participants. We request the participants to answer the questions asked at the end of the session. So over to the next presentation, Mr. Olukwade Ajulo, who is presenting the paper on the principle of constructive dismissal under the Nigerian labor law. Paper ID 004.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning from Nigeria. What I'm presenting is on the constructive. I'm trying to get my slide in.
Yeah, another important instruction is to avoid speaking the sentences word by word from the PPT. You just try to give us a comprehensive presentation without reading from your PPT slides.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Time consuming, so be short and precise and give us a short overview of the entire data. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the topic is the principle of constructive dismissal under the Nigerian labor law. And I asked that the way forward. First is about the table of content, then again, let's go to the introduction. The CD, as we do call it here, is constructive dismissal. It is more of an aspect where an employee is unjustly treated in such a way that he will have no other option than to resign his commission. And this is what Akeredolu and Ayebo in 2021 has really considered. And going further, in Nigerian context, constructive dismissal is viewed from the point that it is not basically, it is a causative effect, and it's not basically on giving an employee and sacking them, but where the commission of the employers has made it in such a way that the workers, that is employee, find it quite a place, a conducive, unconducive and unsafe workplace in which the employers has no other option than to say, I am leaving the job. And when we talk of this principle, particularly in Nigeria context, it is a non-enforcing framework in which it outlines different ways and cases where it can be. For example, one of the obligations that is placed on workers when it comes to constructive dismissal is sometimes always very hard, particularly when a worker has to explain the reason. It is not something that is far-fetched. And furthermore, it is always a cause of inadequacy of awareness, and again, the limited education of workers that make them sometimes to know what they need to explain and how they can construct it. Then when the problem statement, it is four that I put on there. The first one is about the lack of definition and criteria of the constructive dismissal. The second one is burden of proof. That is, in law, when you are making a claim, you must be able to prove it. Sometimes it's very difficult to prove this constructive dismissal. Then the third one is the employees limited on awareness and education, particularly where the employee may not be as much as well educated, and where they're even educated. This area of law, area of workers' issue is something that is very new that many people may not be aware. Then finally, that's number 4, is inadequacy in enforcement and mechanism and remedy. The remedy for this is still low, which makes it possible sometimes to enforce it and to make it very effective. Now, the objective of this research is basically first to examine current understanding and application of principle of constructive dismissal under the Nigerian labor law. The second is to assess the level of awareness and understanding of the principle among the employees, that's the employees and the real owner of labor in Nigeria. And the third is to propose recommendation by improving the principle of constructive dismissal in Nigeria. And all this objective is what we can say at the end of this discourse. Then we talk of literature review. Yes, in doing the literary review, the first one is in defining it. There are many issues of law that we've been able to put in together, which Ogbemodia in 2017 has been able to do. Then going further is on the issue of proof, burden of proof, is to look at some of the cases, the Nigerian cases, and some of the texts that have been prepared to help one in knowing this principle of constructive dismissal. And again, similarly, like in 2023, where Chiri highlighted the challenges associated when it comes to proving who is guilty or not within the accused employer and the accuser, which is employee. Then when we talk of the awareness and education, the level of awareness is quite low, and that is what some people have been able to demonstrate. And particularly in the Nigerian case, the case of impetem against Unity Capital Assurance, the Nigerian court, that's National Industrial Court of Nigeria, maintained that given the fact that the employee has served numbers of years, the employer is under the duty to treat employees fairly without discrimination. Then when I raised the issue of remedy and enforcement mechanism, there are a lot of tests that are able to really lay bare to that. Then the research methodology used is so clear. First, we use the research design, the data source, sample size, and data analysis, and all this is well remunerated. Then, and the result is what we've been able to do, because we did a lot of send a questionnaire out, and these are the what we can see, the graphic is there, the percentage and all, and that. Then the result, because you find out that in most of this, we have respondent, and there are some areas in Abuja, that's in Kama, where this is carried out, where about 100 questionnaire is sent out, about 64 came back, and from what we've seen, it has shown how low this has been when it comes to that. Then, in discussing the result, it is so clear that first, the study shows that in the area that I use, I mentioned Abuja, Maitama district, where I have an office, it has shown that it is representing like 61% that were engaged privately. And these are those who are engaged privately and privately run business. And most of the respondents are engaged in service sector, that's banking and all that. And the study outcome revealed that employees in this area, they are aware of the constructive dismissal law. About 58 of them are aware, but unfortunately, 80% of them are indifferent as to what relates to their knowledge of the law, or why the 38% indicates their knowledge of law, which even is quite low, because why, if in the situation only 38% they know the law, why only 8% don't even seem not to care about the whatever that happened to the law. Then this result again also equally indicated that most of these employees, that's the employers of labor in this district, they've already, most of the time, experienced this hostility and unfavorable work environment caused by the employers. And the study also revealed that 37% of these 57 respondents who have experienced this work hostility by the employers attempted to resign. But when they attempted to resign, only 63% did not even consider resignation, which is bad again, because it shows that irrespective of the way I'm treated, they are not even ready to leave the job. And that's one of the reasons for that is about the issue of the percentage of the employment in the area, particularly in Nigeria. The study also showed that only 9% of the respondents who are in the walkway of hostility environment indicated to have taken any legal action against their employer. 9%, which is low again. The further analysis also revealed that employees engaged in banking and insurance, that's 12.5%. Those in legal, where that's my industry, and hospitality sector, have initiated intervention of a legal authority on constructive dismissal. What this one has shown is that even those who hold to know, particularly those who are even working in legal sector, only few of them are even considering taking this step. And the further outcome, that's the result, also revealed that most employees who face workplace hostility caused by their employer do not take legal action. That is the outcome of this, that most of them, they don't. And the essence of it is that you find out that 38.6% of the employers who suffer workplace due to this CD, that's constructive dismissal, do not take legal action, while only 12.3% are indifferent of taking legal action. Basically, what this one showed is that there is still little awareness, and even where there is awareness, they never even consider that. Then empirical data obtained from this field already reveal that most of the employees who do not seek legal action, not only that they claim ignorance, some of them, because of their financial resources, don't always think of going to court, particularly what will cause them in approaching lawyer, in hiring lawyer. And other thing is their belief in justice delivery system. And in conclusion, it has been shown that the essence of constructive dismissal and the discussion on it is to protect worker from unfair treatment in workplace. The study also examined the Nigerian labor law and proposed a way forward. And when we look at what the literature review shows, the lack of all-inclusive framework, it shows that the issue of burden of proof is still a problem. Low awareness has created ambiguity and inconsistencies in legal interpretation, which make it very difficult for workers to seek redress. And finally, when we talk of the way forward, it has already, by the finding, has shown that there is a need to to interrogate more. The construct dismissal, it was to be established. The outlining specific areas need to be proved, need to be strengthened, and there's a need for it to be more consistency. And again, when it comes to there's a need to increase workers' employee awareness, and there is a need for education campaign to enlighten both workers and employees, and again, the employer, of their responsibility to ensure that there must be a conducive work environment, which must be. And additionally, there's a need to strengthen the compliance and mechanism. And again, to ensure that there is a remedy for if there's any case of this. And once this is done, it will be more positive, more helpful that this is more widened, and there must be a way to ensure that workers are adequately compensated for any constructive dismissal issue. And finally, these are the references. I really thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhima. That was indeed a very, very comprehensive and elaborate presentation. It shows that you have gone in depth to study the effect of constructive dismissal. Mr. Arjuna, I have a question to ask.
Thank you, yes, ma'am.
Given the scenario where when an employee is filing a case against his or her employer, and let us leave the results of the case, whether the case gets a win situation to the employee or whether the employee fails or loses in the argument. I want to know from the scenario of Nigeria as to how this employee is viewed in the job market later. Is the employee is able to get successful employment in the Nigerian job market after he or she files a case in defense of his argument in a trial court on his previous employers? So what is the Nigerian perspective like?
And this is one of the problems that's being faced now. And that is one of the reasons why, from the analysis and what has been presented, we have a low response, particularly in employees going to court. Their fear, first, is that, once you are seeking employment, there may be issue of reference. And unfortunately, in the country, where you are asked to ask if your employers that you are having issue with in court to make a reference, there's always a problem. And that is one of the fear. It is just so bad and so unfortunate that most of the time, this is one of the reasons why most of these employees early approach the court, because of the fear of the backlash.
Thank you, Mr. Arjuna. Thank you so much. Any questions from the coach?
Thank you. The presentation was overall good. Thank you so much.
I was grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Arjuna. Thank you for joining the session.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
The next presenter is Ms. Cheng Lei.
Yes, I'm here, Dr. Chair. Good morning, Dr. Baxi.
Good morning, Ms. Cheng. Who's going to present on the Chinese government's policies and rules for the recruitment and support of international students, which is an exploratory study. So the paper is number is 117.
Hello everyone, my name is Chen Le, a PhD student in education at Lincoln University. I am very glad to share my talk with you. I come from China. When I was a teenager, I really wanted to have the opportunity to study abroad. Studying other countries is the wish of many Chinese students. But when I went to Southeast University to study for master's degree in 2011, I found that there were many foreign students studying in China. Before that, All foreigners I met were my English teachers, and I noticed peaceful views. Since the 10th of the century, students who come to China to study outnumber those who leave China to study elsewhere. Which shocked me. I have always been interested in these things. So today, I'd like to talk about the Chinese government's policies and rules for the recruitment and support of international students. My presentation is in 6 parts. The abstract of the study is as follows. They conducted an exploratory survey with international students enrolled in educational-related majors at some different Chinese education institutions. We investigated the link between the source country architecture of international students and their impression of China's recruitment approach for foreign students. Quantitative analysis of the survey data was performed using tools for pattern taxonomy of contextual component. The findings of this study are used to inform the policy suggestions that are provided. Next, the statement of the problem. HEI development has become a prevailing trend, particularly in China, within the larger framework of globalization, in which China is a significant actor. In order to gain a more complete knowledge of HEI in China, we must look deep into both the policy background and the motives and experience of international students who choose to study in China. This research focuses on the factors and expectations that encourage international students to choose China as their destination. We also deliberated the contradictions between China's official policies and their enactments as experienced by students by connecting and comparing these two levels. Then the objective of the study is as follows. To investigate the relevant policies and rules of international students recruitment and support adopted by Chinese government and HEI. To examine the factors and expectations that motivate international students to choose China as their destination country. To investigate the contradictions between these policies and the enactment as experienced by students. Next is the research methodology. This is a qualitative study. The vast bulk of research on overseas students enrolling in Chinese university is on the quantitative kind. But this study not only focuses on policies, it also solicits the opinions of students about the experience they have had. Both of these facets work very well when approached using quantitative methods. The result and the discussion. In China, a university standing is determined by both its admittance requirements and its rating. The minimum score required for admission to any Chinese institution is public information. It is crucial for colleges and universities to increase their cultural awareness of parental viewpoints in the sending nation and their understanding of the unique requirements of students from the sending country. When ISR shifted from face-to-face to online communication owing to the pandemic, few guidelines or tools were available to help organizations make sense of complex new landscape. The HEIs are especially dependent on education agents, technology providers, and other suppliers for expanding their global reach to students and their families. Smaller schools will be at a disadvantage due to their limited resource and the possibility of falling enrollment to maintain these organizations' long-term viability. Officials should think about ways for them to earn revenue. The last part, conclusion. Governments and institutions need to pay more attention to the third-party provider and establish norms. Openness. Governments and institutions need to pay more attention to the third-party providers and establish norms, opinions, and advice to ensure that all institutions, not just the smallest ones, get trustworthy help. The recruitment efforts of small and medium-sized HEIs should be taken into account by policymakers and institutions leaders because they heavily rely on public financing and student income, particularly tuition from overseas students. These institutions are especially sensitive to economic fluctuations. The school should be oriented to create growth throughout the degree program that will support the students successful in gainful employment after graduation. Okay, that's all. Thank you for your listening and welcome to discuss with me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cheng Lei.
Thank you, Doctor.
I have to appreciate you for a very transitional explanation of your research presentation. It was very natural. It was very helpful. The presentation, the way it was organized, was really helpful for us to navigate the problems of higher education policies in China, especially with regard to foreign students, and why you chose to study this topic, and what was the topic of interest under this particular area, and your methodology, and your consistent findings, and your very convincing discussion of your results. In a way, it was very logical. It was easy to understand. It was technically sound. So on behalf of the organizers and the co-chairs and the audience, I truly congratulate for taking a wonderful effort in showing even the other participants and the other organizers how to go about a presentation of a topic like this. So once again, thanks for your effort and congratulations. We have a question from our audience. I welcome Dr. Nidhi. She has a question for you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Dr.
Hi,
Nidhi.
how are you?
Doctor.
Shirley, I was appreciate about your presentation skill. It was showing that you are studying in Malaysia and you choose the topic about the government policies of China and promoting the international students for your country. It was showing your patriotic nature, your patriotism, love for the China. I must congratulate about that. My question is, you are using the Holmes for approach, right?
Yeah, Holmes
Taxonomy.
for patents.
Yeah, Holmes for taxonomy you are using, but how to implement in this your research?
Let me see.
In your methodology, you are mentioning that the government policies of China, right? Government international students and the admission process. But you are not focusing on the Holmes for taxonomy.
Yes, Holmes for patent taxonomy. It consists of normative patents, sociological laws, national conditions, and deep culture rules for patents.
Oh, okay. So you are saying that by choosing the country for the admission process, that at that time you are using the code taxonomy, right?
Yeah.
For the selection of admission, at the time of admission, right?
Yes, right.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Chen. I wish you take the points like you're using the taxonomy and how well you blend it in your research is very important because I think you're taking this taxonomy as a framework for your study. So you should know how to blend this taxonomy and how you adopt that inside your research work. I hope you take this recommendation. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable advice. Thank you.
So we move on to the next participant, Ms. Shamsha Samani, who has a presentation on early warning signs through the lens of Barbara Carper's fundamental way of knowing. So we have the paper with the reference 454. As a nurse, educator, and administrator, I have always respected things and upholding all nursing value. So if you ever wonder how nurses can detect early warning signs in their patients, what? If I tell you that by applying our practice fundamental way of knowing, nurses can improve patient outcomes by recognition early warning signs. But who is Barbara Carper? And how does your framework contribute to our understanding of early warning signs? Barbara Carper, a distinguished nursing scholar, proposed four fundamental documents. Each package offers unique questions that enriches our comprehension of healthcare knowledge. So, the pattern of my study is early warning signs, and talking about markers, finding out the way of before we further question, I would like to introduce my guest supervisor, Dr. Salman Al-Fajr, from Alberta, Canada. And currently, she is a visiting professor at the University of Us. By the end of this the learners will have more to understand the process policy and significance in the so the agenda of the presentation is system background, demonstration, methodology, samples, results, events, conclusion, and with references. So the background of the study is
Darwin's developed a psychology that explains various ways in which humans acquire knowledge and gain understanding in their professions. Recognizing early
interpret use the biochemistry logic of the information flow of upstream and uncontrolled.
The aim of this study focuses on Darwin's fundamental ways of knowing the psychology that most educators can apply to prepare futures. Psychology comprises of four rooms, was thinking, confidence is based on one's experience and agency. Educators can test how to develop self-awareness, reflection skills, to understand how their biases and beliefs affect society. That comes as category. The specific way of knowing lessons involves shaping the art and beauty of learning practice. Educators can help compare learners to develop compassion, empathy, and appreciation for the patient's holistic experience. In parallel, based on data, educators can teach critical
government policies, the establishment of credit companies.
Involves applying or can help nurses so that educators can help nurses to develop and provide guidance. For methodology, we have used different databases that is Google Scholar, PubMed, ScienceDirect, and British Biomed. The keywords that we use is patient safety and
Hello, teacher. I'm Kong Fei. I should start showing at 9 o'clock, but because something has been delayed, is it okay to share it now?
So, both quantitative and
Hello, teacher.
The sample is still 26 articles selected, 14 are found to be relevant to the file, which is included in the data analysis process. Results.
Hello, teacher. Hello, teacher. I'm Kong Fei. I should showing at 9 o'clock, but because something has been delayed, is it okay to
during the
share it now?
Be quiet, other participants. Maintain the decorum, please.
The pattern of viewings can be applied to various settings, including the simulation setting, clinical setting, and classroom settings.
Hello, teacher. May I show you?
Be quiet. Be quiet. At the end, you can ask your query. Be quiet, please.
Discussion. We would say that bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application in nursing education. Based education and creating meaningful relationships with patients are essential components of nursing education. To promote reflective thinking and patient safety, simulated learning, and debriefing are identified as valuable teaching practices. So I conclude that Darwin's way of doing is a valuable approach to nursing education that empowers students and professionals to learn and reflect in a safe environment. By promoting the transformation of study into professional practice, this approach enhances the value and effectiveness of nursing care. These are my references. This
Thank you, Ms. Shamsa, for giving us such a wonderful presentation. It was really nice to watch you throughout. You are very soft-spoken, and you were really very good and impressive in all the things you explained related to nursing profession, though we don't belong to it, but still it was interesting for us. And thank you so much. Over to Dr. Bexley.
Thank you, Ms. Samsha. I have a few questions because when you're talking about the early morning school, what is the indicator? Say, for example, there are some other scores not developed by professionals like Barbara Harper's, but which is usually used in most of the hospitals. Say, for example, a score above 40 is considered to be a high risk zone. A score, within 20 to 40 is supposed to be moderate risky. A score less than 20 is supposed to be no risk at all, right? So what exactly is, Barbara Harper's score levels, which is differentiating itself so uniquely than other scores, and which is proving itself to be highly efficient in finding out the patients who needs more attention?
Yes, heard the presentation. It was basically based on the curriculum.
Can you be a little more audible?
Okay. Wait.
Is it okay now?
Now. Yeah, very clear.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Can you please mute in your computer if you are speaking through your mobile?
Yeah.
Because you are in two different platforms. I think one from your phone and
I have
one from your
unmute
laptop.
from here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now is it okay? Hello?
Yes, we are audible.
Okay, fine. Okay. Basically, I have chose this presentation because of the curriculum were not fully equipped with the early warning sign and how to teach the children. Because students learn from knowledge and skills, but there is a lack of valuing that thing. So Barbara is quite different from other, because she teaches that you have to keep your values in front, and you have to see what your beliefs say when you see the patients, when they are not in a position, and when they are in a deteriorating condition. So when you teach the students, they should consider this 4 typology. So that is why I chose this topic, so that students should know their personal values. Then they should experience how to do hands-on, so that when they go to a clinical area, they can practice it over there. So it's this Carpus that will help how to handle the situation without hesitation.
Thank you so much for addressing the question. Once again, I congratulate you for having given a very effortless and a very smooth presentation, which has in conclusive all the information required for your topic. So once again,
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and wish you all good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Participant,
Hello, teacher.
Ms. Liu Chinmai.
Hello, teacher. I'm Koning Fei. I should start showing at 9 o'clock, but because something has been delayed, is it okay to show it now?
Okay.
There is something inconvenient to display the PPT on my side. Can I play the previous video?
May I know your name? May I know your name?
I'm Koning Fei.
I want to know your name.
Koning Fei.
What's your paper ID?
I'm Koning Fei. I should start showing at 9
Okay,
o'clock.
yeah. No, give me 1 second. Let me confirm once again. I want to know if Ms. Lee Chinmai is here. Ms. Lee Chinmai. Okay. Yes. Mr. Kong Ling Fai?
Yes.
Yes. So you are presenting on the study on the causes and countermeasures of financing difficulties of small and medium-sized enterprises in China. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Your paper ID is 078. 078.
077.
Last one. Last.
Okay.
University origins. I think also research on the promotion of the supply chain. But nothing of small like medium size in the class. What student comparing the difference between traditional credit model and the supply chain finance model between the central evidence project in the supply chain finance model and the other single models. Not only consider the credit world is for financial process, but also focus on the financial level of the core enterprises. Where supply completely units of the industry and then your ability to control the supply chain. Therefore, the supply chain has scenario of the problem. So, the what we do as communities out of the semantic politics of the review to analyze the material of the supply chain cannot solve the financing. On the information, they are trying to keep agent the idea championship under the very finance so increasing the as over time the finance is really and analyze. Compare with analyze to forward to something and develop knowledge suggestion based on factors of various industries. Hello everyone. I'm Zhao Donghuang. I'm studying at the University of College. As a artist and the representative for based on my issue. Parents, William, let me know the possibility to achieve the objective of just the advantages of and hopefully the religion is established the branch of the workers application. So this team these are these for American because then I will share this next. And then I will also appreciate the work. I will use a balancing points for what consideration of stakeholder interactions. So research necessary and data sources is studying the application. What about mutual processes is the new so the selected and the simple to the two standard interpreters that is will indeed user from the information application. Busy in order to improve the availability of students. The intellectual results the simple as we follow the calculation of what consultation of information according to the selecting the simple come on the basically this process. Based on this question and considering issues of the platform. Assess students' level of daily participation. All your presentation for adaptation for facing the effectiveness among students. Adaptation channels are very related to more Okay, thank you. I also hope thank you everyone.
Thank you so much for a nice presentation. But you are not able to present it in a clear-cut manner, so that all the things are presented in a precise way and it's understood clearly by us. The problem statement was totally unclear, the objectives were not in order, and you just jumped to the results without explaining the previous things. So please focus on it whenever you present before others. They don't know much about your research work, so you have to explain in a manner that they come to know it clearly what you want to say. So that's all. Overall, it was good. Thank you so much for it. Okay, so we are done with the presentations. I hope no other participant is left. You all have presented. Thank you so much to everyone for being in the meeting and presenting. So nice topics before us. Thank you all of you. It was a wonderful experience for us. Thank you so much and good luck for future. I close this meeting here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining this session. Your certificates will be emailed to you shortly. And I thank on behalf of the organizers that you had the opportunity and we had the opportunity to meet and connect and share our experiences. Wishing you all good luck in your future endeavors. Thank you so much and we close it for the day. Good luck to all of you.
Yeah, bye-bye. Good luck.